Okay, black men, understand this. I like to get straight to it. So like and subscribe. Now let's get straight to it. Black men, to protect the black family, you need a prenup. But the prenup is not about money. The prenup has to be about why you got married. You got married because you wanted a family, someone to grow old with. But guess what? The second reason was because you wanted to raise children who would be productive members of society and that would one day provide you with grandchildren. Okay, now understand this. We cannot control women, and women have been weaponized against us. Now we worry about them taking assets, this, that, and the other. But understand this, whatever we have, we can work and get it again. I did. So I'm going to explain to you what to do. I'm going to give you the value of my experience. I don't care whether you make $100 million a year or $50,000 a year. Don't matter. The thing that you want in a prenup is that you want custodial custody of your children. You want 50% custodial custody. She gets 50% custodial custody. If you buy marital assets, you want to split them down the middle. Split the marital assets down the middle, but you want joint custody. Even if you don't get custodial custody, you want joint custody. That's what you have to have. Now, avoid having children out of wedlock. You have to protect yourself, because if you have children out of wedlock, then she can weaponize your children against you. And see, you may say it's her fault for getting pregnant, but it's your fault for putting yourself in that situation. It's your fault for putting yourself in that situation. Even if you think that the woman is not perfect marriage material, as long as you get joint custody, where you can have custodial custody, and you split the marital assets down the middle, that's all you need. That is all you need. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me say this. I have no interest in putting my ex-wife down. That's something that women do to men when they get divorced, because they never hold themselves accountable. I'm not looking to do that. But understand this, like most women, my ex-wife, she applied for the divorce. She regretted it, as all of them do. Most of them do, especially if you're not this person that they make you out to be. But anyway, when I got divorced, I gave her everything. I gave her everything, the house and everything. And the only thing I wanted was joint custody, because I wanted to be in my children's life. So I wanted joint custody. And so I gave her the house and everything, because I was moved around from place to place to place as a kid. And you always go in there and you got to deal with bullies, and you got to reestablish yourself in a new neighborhood. And as soon as you do that, boom, you're in another neighborhood. BS. I wanted my kids to be in a stable environment. I didn't want them moved around. So I quit claimed the deed to the house over to her. That was a mistake. What I should have done is decided that I should have kept joint ownership of the home. Now my kids would be in a stable environment. And another reason why I should have had joint ownership of my home. That way, if there's any damage or anything done to the house, I can come over there and fix it and make sure that they have a decent home to live in. The house I live in now, I put a toilet and a sink in the half bathroom. These are things that I could have done to help maintain that house. Then, so I made the mistake of just quit claiming the house over to her. That was a mistake. Should have kept half ownership of the house. But I gave it to her because I wasn't thinking about myself. I wanted her to have that house for herself so that she could live there for the rest of her life. So I wanted her to have the home. And I wanted my kids to have a solid foundation where they can build up friendships and things like this. But like I said, I should have kept 50% ownership in the house. Because when I ended up moving out, I didn't think that she would move a guy in, a Pookie Ray Ray, and she did. Then she moved another guy in and married him, but she kept my last name. See, because Pookie and Ray Ray, they looking to move into, now a woman with a house, Pookie and Ray Ray love them. They love to move in. Whereas if you were an alpha male like myself, no way in God's green earth I'm going to move into some woman's house. That's crazy. So that's the mistake I made. Then you got to have joint custody, because after 3 years, I got custody of my kids. But that 3 years, and during that 3 years, I picked them up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from school, made sure they got their homework done, and they had something to eat before their mother got off work. But what I should have done, was still check up on them on the weekends and find out what was going on in the evenings. Because the minute I dropped them off, they were running wild. And then their grades start going down in school. And so when their grades start going down in school, then it was time for me to get custody. And I think see, when my kids were born, I stopped drinking and getting high because my focus was on raising my kids. And I didn't want them to doing drugs and all that stuff, so I had to set a good example. She kept doing that. Eventually developed drinking problems, this, that, and the other, so I hustled up to get custody of my kids. But over the 3 years that I wasn't aware of what was going on, they developed bad habits. So, but the only reason why I believe my daughter didn't get pregnant and have a bunch of kids, my son didn't end up in jail, was because I did get custody of them, and I was able to retrain them to a certain extent. But the most informative years of a child's life is to about 9 years old, because they start to develop habits. By the age of 9, they start developing habits. And now you have to try to get those habits out of them. And you got to be there in those early years of their lives. In other words, so that they don't develop those bad habits. But I'm not going to go totally into my thing, but I just want you to understand, you're going to have to I'm not going to give you my personal experience. I'm not going to put my ex-wife down. But I'm going to tell you this. When you get married, you want a joint custody agreement in there. And if you can, you want a 50% custodial custody. 50% with her one part of the year, 50% with you. If you buy a house, don't just give it away. Sell it when the kids get to a certain age and they're out of school and stuff, then sell it. Third, do not marry a woman that does not work. Do not marry a woman that does not work. She can make, if you make 60,000 and she make 30,000, that's cool. But don't marry a woman that doesn't work. And I can tell you this, I grew up in an age where in the 50s and 60s, baby boomers. And we were always taught that behind every great man, there is a woman. So I've been wanting to get married when I hit 50, I wanted to get married for the last 20 years, but I couldn't find what I was looking for. So when I purchased my home 20 years ago, I had no stress whatsoever. Being single, see, for a man, you really only need a woman if you want to have a child, if you want to have a family. And see, my situation is I can cook and clean. I put a sink and a toilet in my half bathroom. So I don't need a woman. But a woman needs a man unless she can put a sink and a toilet in the bathroom, replace a hot water heater, and do other things around, repair gutters. If she can do other things, then I guess she don't need a man. And if she knows something about cars, but men make the best parents. That's a proven fact. And if you are like me and you're getting married because you want a family, then you have to get a prenup because you want it written down that you're going to get custodial custody and you split the marital assets in half. And if she won't sign that, then don't marry her. And I can say this, Kevin Samuels said, a high value man is not a man 6'6" and 6. Because I've never made over $65,000 a year, but you have to know how to manage your money. Millionaires go broke. You have to know how to manage your money. And my home is just 20 years ago, purchased my home, and it's worth double what I paid for it. Double. And I paid over $100 for it. So men, you can always start over. You can always start over. Always start over. But one of the main things that broke us up was that drinking. When our kids was born, all that drinking and smoking reefer, all that stuff was out. Because I didn't want to set that type of an example for them. But that is what led to our separation. And like all things, she was the one who filed for divorce and regretted to this day. But my thing is this: if you can marry, you can take a chance on marrying any woman. You can marry any woman you want, as long as you can take a chance on romance. As long as you get 50% custodial custody and 50% of the marital assets. That's all you want. All this stuff about being getting a stay-at-home wife, nah, don't do that. Don't even play that. Don't even play that. Like, subscribe, talk to you later.